There's something very special happening in San Antonio. What is up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome to TSR Sports. Hope you're having a great weekend, and ask you this. Just how good can our San Antonio Spurs be when everyone is back? We'll talk about that in a few moments, but first, let's get into this article from Air Alamo talking about how the Spurs starting lineup is blowing the league out of the water. You heard that right? Let's get into it. No one expected much from the San Antonio Spurs this season. I myself have said I think they'll go about 35-40 and be a fringe playoff team. Or play-in team, excuse me. A second-year Victor Wembanyama and the off-season addition of Chris Paul were enough to build some excitement around the Spurs. They did. Some people said that's all we did. It certainly is paying dividends on the court so far. Ignoring that the team's record is just .500 and consider that last season the Spurs hadn't won their 8th game until mid-January. January 20th to be exact. We won our 8th game on January 21st. The Spurs are 2 months ahead of schedule. No more 22-60. Players and coaches in San Antonio will tell you they're far from a finished product, but they're glimpses of greatness in what the Spurs are building. Their record doesn't show it yet, but something special is brewing in the 2-1-0. What we've seen from the Spurs starting lineup is stunning. And there's a tweet here from Dan Weiss, and you can't see it at the top here, but it talks about how CP3, Castle, Wemby, Barnes, and Champagnie are the best plus-minus of any starting five in the NBA entering Week 5. I'm going to blow it up here so you can see it. Boop! There they are. Plus 58 over Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks, Jalen Green, Alperen Sengun, Jabari Smith Jr. over the Celtics. They're above the Celtics. Al Horford, Drew Holiday, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Derek White. These guys are playing phenomenal together. And I'll be honest, I never thought they would gel that well. But that starting five, that five lineup has been incredible. Let's move down the article. We knew there would be an improvement from last season, but I did not, Air Alamo, not see the Spurs starting up pacing ahead of the Celtics, Nuggets, Wolves, or Lakers. But no matter how you look at it, the Spurs starters are some of the best in the league. Sounds good, right, Spurs fans? Chris Paul, Wemby, Champagnie, Castle, Barnes have locked in, and it is showing up on both ends of the floor. And I will say, one of the things I read about Harrison Barnes a lot was his poor defense. I don't think he's been a great defender, but I can't sit here and say what I've seen this season. He's been horrible. I think he's been pulling his weight. This group has the best net rating of any lineup with 70-plus minutes. They've done that by putting opposing teams in a vice. They allowed just 93 points per 100 possessions and finding the open man and assisting on 75% of their baskets. Playing team basketball. Playing Spursy basketball. Watching this group play has been a revelation from last year. It makes sense that adding a bona fide basketball genius, talking about Chris Paul, a seasoned veteran, and Barnes, and one of the best defensive prospects in his draft class, in Stephon Castle, will lead to a marked improvement. But even now, Spurs fans are asking, what's next? Devin Vassell is still slowly being reintegrated into the team, very slowly because he's missed the last 3 games. He's questionable for tonight. And then there will be another significant shift when Jeremy Sochan rejoins the team. That's right, we're missing multiple starters. We know that Victor Wembanyama will continue to let it rip from behind the arc. His elite rim protection and what this does for the Spurs defense isn't going anywhere. We also know that Stephon Castle is exactly who we hoped he would be. Actually, even more for me, much more on the offensive side so far in his IQ. I got to credit where credit's due. And that Chris Paul will be one of the best facilitators in the NBA until he decides to hang him up. That knowledge should make Spurs fans confident about whatever the rest of the season might bring. With a few more changes here and there, San Antonio could be ready to make some noise around the playoff play-in border come spring. I agree 100%. And at the start of the video, I said just how good can the Spurs be when everyone is back? We're going to have some phenomenal depth when everybody's healthy. Our starting lineup probably will be, once everybody's back, Wemby, Sochan, Barnes, Vassell, Paul. That was the projected starting lineup at the start of the season. They have not played yet together. I know some Spurs fans might say if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but they are going to fix it and hopefully not break it. But that's going to give us so much more depth with our backups. The backup lineup likely will be Collins or Bassey. Maybe Collins gets traded. You guys keep hoping for it. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe it won't. Bassey's been playing great, so if Bassey does become the primary backup center, we're taking out a rim protector with Wemby and backing him up with a rim protector with Bassey. So that's, the offense is going to drop, but the defense will be there. Champagnie's been solid as a defender. He would be in the primary role after Sochan. Keldon, not a great defender, but he has been efforting better this year. And then we have Castle backing up Vassell, and that's going to be actually a defensive upgrade. and then Jones still our point guard. So looking at that bench lineup, the second unit has not been good this year in keeping leads. They've definitely not been good defensively. But then when you look at backups of Bassey, Champagny, and Castle, those three guys can defend. That would be a huge upgrade to our second unit. So there's a lot to look forward to. Now, with me going over those players just then, that leaves limited to no minutes for players like Sandro Mamukelashvili, Malachi Branham, and Blake Wesley, and probably 0 minutes for players like Sidi Sissoko. And there's other players I've been keeping my eye on. I'm sure you have too. Riley Minix right now. My brother from another mother is killing it in the G League. In 7 games, he's averaging 20 points per game while shooting a blistering 54, 43, and 80. And I know, Spurs fans, you might say, TSR, that's just the G League. Shooting translates wherever you are. Whether you're in the G League, whether you're in the NBA, if you can shoot somewhere, you can shoot anywhere. Maybe Riley could be our next Dalton Connect. I don't know. But I think we are, this team, I know we're 8-8, and we have a tough game tonight against the Warriors, and we don't know the availability for Wemby or for Vassell. They're both questionable. Kelvin's questionable now with the tight hamstring, but they're playing team ball. And they've adapted today. They're launching more threes. Sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes not a bad thing. But just seeing the way the teams come together, seeing them come back against the Jazz, down 20, not giving up, Bassey bringing that energy, and all of a sudden the team just starts playing well and wins the game. That's a game, the last few seasons, they probably don't win that. Something just feels different this year. And maybe that is because we have veterans on the team that are giving the team great leadership in Chris Paul, in Harrison Barnes. I don't know. I say this all the time, guys. It is a very exciting time to be a Spurs fan. I know you're all excited about next year's draft. I read an article this morning that right now we're projected to get like the 11th, 15th, and 18th picks, and that's a borderline 15th pick with the Hornets. I think they're going to be a lottery team again, so we're probably going to have our pick and the Hawks unprotected pick, and the Hawks don't suck as much as we want them to. For Team Tank, we don't suck as much as you want us to, so we're unless we get some extreme luck and become a late lottery team and hit the jackpot and get the number 1 pick. We're not getting Cooper Flagg. We're not getting Ace Bailey. We're probably not getting any of those players. Maybe we don't need them. Maybe our roster is here and we're just overlooking it. They're coming together in ways I didn't think possible. Sure, 8-8, again, not the best record in the NBA, but the last 2 seasons we were 22-60. This is a huge, huge jump forward. I personally think the days of 16-game losing streaks and 18-game streaks are over, thank goodness, and only good things moving forward. Guys, we'll be live tonight, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. The gang's all here. Me, Miss TSR. JL is here. Jean-Luc Picard. I know you guys asked for him a lot on camera, so he'll be happy to be poking his head up and saying hi. And can't wait to see how we do against the Warriors. And if we can beat the Warriors, especially if we're shorthanded, oh my, watch out NBA. Drop a comment down below, your thoughts on everything we went over today. Are you surprised just how good the Spurs plus minus is with this starting lineup? Or just what you expected? And when everybody's back, what is your starting lineup? And who are your primary backups? Let me know in the comments. Hit the thumbs up, like, support the channel, become an official sponsor of TSR Sports, and subscribe for the best starring Spurs community on YouTube. Thank you, and as always, go Spurs go.